Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The act of disciplining. The act of offering an improvement to replace a mistake, setting right. A quantity that is added or subtracted in order to increase the accuracy of a scientific measure. A rebuke for making a mistake. A drop in stock market activity or stock prices following a period of increases. Market run-ups are invariably followed by a correction. Something substituted for an error. Treatment of a specific defect. The correction of his vision with eyeglasses. A branch of knowledge. In what discipline is his doctorate? Develop a child's or animal's behavior by instruction and practice, especially to teach self-control. Parents must discipline their children. The act of disciplining. The offenders deserved the harsh discipline they received. Punish in order to gain control or enforce obedience. The teacher disciplined the pupils rather frequently. A system of rules of conduct or method of practice. He quickly learned the discipline of prison routine. The trait of being well behaved. He insisted on discipline among the troops. Training to improve strength or self-control. The act of offering an improvement to replace a mistake, setting right. Chemistry, the process of refinement or purification of a substance by distillation. Determination of the length of a curve, finding a straight line equal in length to a given curve. The conversion of alternating current to direct current. A quantity that is added or subtracted in order to increase the accuracy of a scientific measure. A rebuke for making a mistake. Verbal punishment. A rebuke for making a mistake. The act of punishing. The act of punishing. A payment required for not fulfilling a contract. Games, a handicap or disadvantage that is imposed on a competitor, or a team, for an infraction of the rules of the game. The disadvantage or painful consequences of an action or condition. Neglected his health and paid the penalty. The act of punishing. The act of punishing. A change for the better, progress in development. A condition superior to an earlier condition. The new school represents a great improvement. The act of improving something. Their improvements increased the value of the property. An estimated quantity. Censure severely or angrily. An act or expression of criticism and censure. He had to take the rebuke with a smile on his face. An act or expression of criticism and censure. Censure severely or angrily. An act or expression of criticism and censure. Rebuke formally. Take to task. An act or expression of criticism and censure. An act or expression of criticism and censure. Appear to move downward. The sun dipped below the horizon. Switch, a car's headlights, from a higher to a lower beam. Dip into a liquid while eating. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. A dip in prices. Immerse briefly into a liquid so as to wet, coat, or saturate. Dip the garment into the cleaning solution. A thief who steals from the pockets or purses of others in public places. Dip into a liquid. He dipped into the pool. Physics: the angle that a magnetic needle makes with the plane of the horizon. A brief swim in water. A brief immersion. A candle that is made by repeated dipping in a pool of wax or tallow. A depression in an otherwise level surface. There was a dip in the road. A gymnastic exercise on the parallel bars in which the body is lowered and raised by bending and straightening the arms. Go down momentarily. Prices dipped. Immerse in a disinfectant solution. Dip the sheep. Lower briefly. She dipped her knee. Place candle wicks into hot, liquid wax. Plunge one's hand or a receptacle into a container. He dipped into his pocket. Scoop up by plunging one's hand or a ladle below the surface. Dip water out of a container. Slope downwards. Our property dips towards the river. Stain an object by immersing it in a liquid. Take a small amount from. I had to dip into my savings to buy him this present. Tasty mixture or liquid into which bite-sized foods are dipped. A shape that is spherical and small. He studied the shapes of low-viscosity drops. Remove, cargo, people, etc., from and leave. Drop off the passengers at the hotel. Grow worse. Fall or descend to a lower place or level. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. A drop of 57 points on the Dow Jones Index. A free and rapid descent by the force of gravity. It was a miracle that he survived the drop from that height. Let her cause to fall in drops. Stop associating with. They dropped her after she had a child out of wedlock. Pay out. A small indefinite quantity, especially of a liquid. He had a drop too much to drink. Get rid of. Cause to fall by or as if by delivering a blow. Hang freely. The light dropped from the ceiling. A steep high face of rock. A steep drop. Stop pursuing or acting. Drop a lawsuit. Leave undone or leave out. A curtain that can be lowered and raised onto a stage from the flies, often used as background scenery. Lower the pitch of musical notes. A central depository where things can be left or picked up. A predetermined hiding place for the deposit and distribution of illicit goods, such as drugs or stolen property. Change from one level to another. She dropped into army jargon. Fall or sink into a state of exhaustion or death. Shop till you drop. Give birth. Used for animals. The cow dropped her calf this morning. Go down in value. Stock prices dropped. Let fall to the ground. Don't drop the dishes. Lose a game. The Giants dropped 11 of their first 13. Omit a letter or syllable in speaking or writing. New Englanders drop their post-vocalic Rs. Take a drug, especially LSD, by mouth. She dropped acid when she was a teenager. Terminate an association with. Drop him from the Republican ticket. The act of dropping something. They expected the drop would be successful. To fall vertically. The bombs are dropping on enemy targets. Utter with seeming casualness. Drop a hint. Move downward and lower, but not necessarily all the way. The barometer is falling. The act of surrendering, usually under agreed conditions. Come into the possession of. When a wrestler's shoulders are forced to the mat. Fall from clouds. Rain, snow and sleet were falling. Lose an upright position suddenly. A sudden decline in strength or number or importance. The fall of the House of Habsburg. Fall or flow in a certain way. Fall to somebody by assignment or lot. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. When that became known, the price of their stock went into free fall. A free and rapid descent by the force of gravity. Touch or seem as if touching visually or audibly. Decrease in size, extent, or range. Come as if by falling. A downward slope or bend. The season when the leaves fall from the trees. In the fall of 1973. The time of day immediately following sunset. They finished before the fall of night. A sudden drop from an upright position. Come under, be classified or included. Fall into a category. Be inherited by. A lapse into sin. A loss of innocence or of chastity. A fall from virtue. A movement downward. The rise and fall of the tides. Assume a disappointed or sad expression. Be born, used chiefly of lambs. Be captured. Be cast down. Be due. Payments fall on the first of the month. Begin vigorously. Come out. Issue. Descend in free fall under the influence of gravity. Die, as in battle or in a hunt. Several deer have fallen to the same gun. Drop oneself to a lower or less erect position. Go as if by falling. Lose office or power. Lose one's chastity. A fallen woman. Move in a specified direction. The line of men fall forward. Occur at a specified time or place. Christmas falls on a Monday this year. Pass suddenly and passively into a state of body or mind. Fall into a trap. Slope downward. The hills around here fall towards the ocean. Suffer defeat, failure, or ruin. We must stand or fall. The lapse of mankind into sinfulness because of the sin of Adam and Eve. To be given by assignment or distribution. To be given by right or inheritance. Yield to temptation or sin. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. When that became known, the price of their stock went into free fall. The ideal falling motion of something subject only to a gravitational field. Putting something, as a literary work or a legislative bill, into acceptable form. Putting something, as a literary work or a legislative bill, into acceptable form. The act of putting something in writing. Medicine. The act of caring for someone, as by medication or remedial training, etc. Heat therapy gave the best relief. Quick and energetic. A spanking breeze. The act of slapping on the buttocks. He gave the brat a good spanking. A statement that is added to or revises or improves a proposal or document, a bill or constitution, etc. The act of amending or correcting. The act of compensating for service or loss or injury. Psychiatry. A defense mechanism that conceals your undesirable shortcomings by exaggerating desirable behaviors. Something, such as money, given or received as payment or reparation, as for a service or loss or injury. A correction by amending. A correction resulting from critical editing. The act of compensating for service or loss or injury. Make payment to, compensate. Make amends for, pay compensation for. Payment or reward, as for service rendered. Act of correcting an error or a fault or an evil. A sum of money paid in compensation for loss or injury. Make reparations or amends for. Act of correcting an error or a fault or an evil.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.